and they win the NFC South.
What's good, everybody? Let's talk some Tampa sports. Another week is almost over. It is Thursday, which means we are nearing close to Bucs Steelers, 7 o'clock, Saturday night. This video, we're going to go over who to watch, what to pay attention to. Let's get into it. First up, some notes from today's joint practice. The Bucs, Steelers practice together in, it's not called Heinz Field anymore. What's it called? Is it like Airisher or something like that, maybe? It's still Heinz Field to me. They played in the Steelers' home stadium with that joint practice. So a couple of notes. Mike Evans apparently absolutely torched Jalen Ramsey today to the point where Todd Bowles is just like, yeah, you're good. You're not playing Saturday. Next. Which, it's Mike Evans. It makes sense. And then same goes for Levante David. He will also be out Saturday, not with injury purposes. Teddy Bridgewater has been taking a ton of reps throughout this week. Of course, having to make up for, time that he wasn't here compared to Baker and Trask, who obviously have been here for years now at this point, trying to bring Bridgewater more into the fold, giving him those snaps, and he will see time on Saturday. So first time seeing Teddy Bridgewater. Some unfortunate news coming out of today. Why can't we ever just have a nice day without me having to get on here and say, with some unfortunate news, J.J. Roberts, during a special teams period about halfway through practice, maybe a little bit later than that, went down with an injury. And hoping for the best, but he is getting an MRI tomorrow. People don't seem super optimistic just based on their tone when they speak about it, like the people that were there and saw it. I'm just hoping for the best. I'm not going to ramble anymore on it. Once we get the news, I'll talk more about it. Other people who will not play Saturday. Winfield out with a sore hamstring. I know that popped up yesterday. Everyone was like, why isn't Winfield practice for 2 days? Obviously very concerning after last year. We need Winfield in there. We need him in there. Just playmaking purposes. The guy's a monster. I don't have to explain this to you. So that hamstring injury popped up. Everyone freaked out. Apparently it's just soreness. They're just going to give him some time off, and hopefully we'll be back good to go. Benjamin Morrison, also a hamstring, still out with injury, will not play Saturday against the Steelers. Rashad White got injured against the Titans with that groin injury, still day-to-day, probably will not play Saturday. And the other guy there is Cade Otton, still dealing with his injury, questionable for Saturday night. Everyone else should be able to go. We will see the starters, and it's a big deal. First time seeing this group together. Obviously, some big pieces either injured or not playing, but this is the first time we're going to see Baker, Bucky, this O-line, Ibuka, McMillan, that starting defensive line. Let's get into these things to watch because we have a lot to pay attention to. I know it's preseason, but there's a lot of things to look at in preseason game 2. I guess I'll give you guys something to look at instead of me. So it looks like I did get this right. Acrisure Stadium. I don't know if I'm saying that right. I can't read. It is what it is. We're here. We're moving. First thing to watch, Baker, Ibuka. First round pick. First time seeing these two build that connection in live action. Steelers will likely have their starters playing as well. So seeing Ibuka going up against starting corners. And Steelers often, historically, have a pretty good defense with Mike Tomlin running the charge there. They have Jalen Ramsey, Joey Porter Jr. I feel like there's another cornerback that I should know off the top of my head, but it is slipping. So allow me to ramble for half a second. Darius Slay. So they got a couple veterans in Darius Slay and Jalen Ramsey. And then the young guy would be Joey Porter Jr. So there we go. A chance to see that Baker-Ibuka connection. We've been hearing all about it during camp. We finally get to see it in live action against some pretty notable names. Let's see how this goes. The next thing to pay attention to with the starters on offense is Charlie Heck. First time seeing him. I mean, we saw him last week, but first time seeing him with the rest of the starters. Obviously, he will be starting for some time. A little bit of time, hopefully, as the season begins with Tristan Wirfs out with his injury, but he played, maybe one series last week, so this week we'll see him with the rest of the starters. Bredesen, Barton, Mock, Gadecki. So we'll see what that chemistry looks like and how Charlie Heck looks. And, we'll probably pay attention to that in the film room next week because it is I mean, it's the left tackle. It's the blind side. It's going to be a big deal during these first 4-ish weeks of the season, however long Tristan Wirfs is out. Yeah. I hope he looks good and he can give me some confidence Saturday night. And the Steelers, as usual, have a very good defensive line, so we'll be able to see that starting group, including Charlie Heck, go against Cam Hayward, TJ Watt, Alex Highsmith. Like, there's some pretty big names on that defensive line, and we get to see how that plays out. That's a test. That is an absolute test. I don't think the Falcons, Texans, Jets, any of those teams have the defensive line that the Steelers have. So these are going to be very big reps for this group, specifically Charlie Heck, to get on film and work with going forward into the games that actually matter. The run game with Bucky, I'm sure it's going to look good. McMillan and Baker already have a pretty good connection building after last year. All that should still be pretty good. Other questions I have when it comes to this starting group, like I said, K-Dot might be out, so who's going to step up between Payne Durham and Devin Culp? If K-Dot is out, Durham, Culp, who's going to step up in this game, take that opportunity and run with it? That's what I want to see. I know Payne has, called himself this human battering ram, and they're obviously two very different types of tight ends, and they'll probably use them in their different ways, where Culp's going to be that more vertical threat, more speed, and Durham is, better at blocking, more physical, probably better at like boxing out, jump balls, things like that. So we'll see how they use him and who takes this opportunity with potentially K-Dot out and runs with it in preseason game 2 with the rest of the starting group. Defensively, come on, man. I've been waiting for this moment. First time seeing Hassan Reddick playing in a Bucs uniform. Opposite Yaya Diaby. In between the both of them, Vita Vea, Kalijah Kancey. This starting unit is ridiculous. It is ridiculous, and we finally get to see it together for the first time. And potentially all of them chasing after old man Aaron Rodgers. If Steelers are playing their starters, that means Aaron Rodgers is probably going to play. That'll be fun. That'll be fun, would it not? Next up with the starters on defense, Tyke Smith. First time seeing him, full-time, becoming that safety that will play next to Antoine Winfield Jr., moving from that nickel spot that he played last year during his rookie year. How does he look? Who's going to play next to him? Ask the starting group, ask the starting free safety. It's not how we wanted to see this for the first time. We wanted, obviously, to see Tyke and Antoine next to each other, but unfortunately, due to that hamstring injury, we will have to see Tyke next to somebody, whoever ends up taking that spot, and we'll see how they play. Safety depth was an issue last year. Antoine already dealing with the hammy. J.J. Roberts dealing with whatever happened today. Like, we can't be taking hits to the safety depth this early. So we'll see what Tyke looks like. That'll be something big to watch. And pretty much playing off of that, with Tyke moving to safety, that opens up another position. Who's going to take that starting job at nickel? And then who do they decide to go out there with that first group? Is it going to be Parrish? Is it going to be Isian? I think Vildor probably more unlikely, even though I've heard, plenty good things about him. That's another thing to pay attention to. Who do they see as the starter going into the second game of preseason? I hope to see, just because I've seen Isian, I'm not calling for anyone to be the starter yet. Just because I've seen Isian, I'd like to see what Parrish looks like out there with the starters, personally. And then the last thing with the starters defensively, more reps from SirVocea Dennis. Talked about it last week in the preview. We're talking about it again this week in the preview. I want to see more of SirVocea Dennis. I am a SirVocea Dennis truther, and I have faith, trust, and expect him, if he can stay healthy, to, elevate this defense. I truly do. That's how highly I think of SirVocea Dennis. Unfortunately, we won't see him next to Levante David. Thankfully, not due to injury or anything like that, just because Levante's already seen it all. But we will see who the first guy off the bench is because of that. So Anthony Walker Jr., I know he was dealing with the injury a little bit, but I think he should be good to go. So likely, if he is, it'll be Dennis and Anthony Walker Jr., who was a free agent pickup from the Miami Dolphins. So added depth there. We'll see how those two play off of each other. And then, of course, that depth behind him. Let's get into the backups. So once the starters exit, let's just continue with linebacker. I want to see Nick Jackson and John Bullock continue with the momentum and just build off of what they put together on film last week. They looked amazing. They made plays, tackles for loss, sack, interception, just as a duo, creating chaos against the backups of the Tennessee Titans. So we're trying to build that depth. These are two undrafted guys who looked really good in preseason week 1. I want to see that carry over into week 2, and I have faith and trust that it will. They looked really good, and if you watched my film session, you saw it. You saw it. The athleticism, the fluidity in which they played confident, fast. It looked nice. It looked nice. Once again, keeping my eyes on Braswell. I think he's getting a little bit more, not necessarily hate, but like, come on, bro. We need to see something that he deserves based off preseason game 1. Of course, we all want to see him get sacks, but he did have a really good night in the run game against the Titans. But with that, we want to see him get sacks too. So what can he do against probably the Steelers' backup offensive line? Like I said, didn't get a sack against the Titans' backups. Let's see something against the Steelers. Let's go, Braswell. We need you big time this year to take that game to another level. Let's do it. Not going to spend too much time on this one, but with J.J. Roberts being out, that means more plays to be made for Shiloh. I want to see a bunch of big plays from Shiloh. Shiloh all over the field, making tackles, throwing his head in there, being aggressive. Come on. I feel like he's on the outside looking in right now. Give it everything, and I know he will. I know he has that mindset. And then the last thing, continuing with, already talked about Braswell, wanting to see a sack from him, but also the guys even further down, Ramirez and Watts. I want to see more from them too when it comes to this pass rush. Like, I think these are good depth pass rush pieces, but if they're not getting sacks on the backups of the Titans, hopefully not the Steelers, like, I want to see this, momentum build. The depth is just rising, getting better in general across the entire team. Let's keep it with pass rush going too, like Braswell, Watts, Ramirez. Come on, y'all. I consider Braswell should be like a high-level backup. Ramirez and Watts, I consider them like guys that should be better than your average practice squad player. Ramirez has spent most of his career, and Watts as well, on the practice squad, and I look at them a little bit higher than that. So I want to see them play to that level when they're going against other guys that are fighting for practice squad spots. So that's going to be it for me. Let me know down in the comments who you're going to be watching, maybe what group as a whole that you're going to be paying attention to on Saturday night. So thank you guys so much for watching. Please like and subscribe if you have not already. Go Bucs, and y'all have a blessed one.
Hey, hey, Tampa Bay.